Okay, we're only 30 minutes late because the show just ended. So we are literally going live like mere seconds after the show ended. So I am drinking, in the most ironic sense of the word, a clear American cherry lemonade sparkling water right now. I'm aware. I don't have anything. I could have been drinking clearly Canadian, but no, I was drinking clear American. So yeah, go figure. We are live right now to talk about the literally just completed NXT Takeover Toronto, and what a show it was. I will say right now, usually we do this thing called the Long Pop Weekend, and it's kind of a Long Pop Weekend, honestly, but it's kind of like a smaller version of it because we don't have something on Friday. We just have Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then Wednesday. So I guess technically we could say it's there.
Sunday's hectic, though.
Yes, it is. All right, so we are going to discuss Takeover now, and I'm not alone. Oh no, if you don't know by now, my name is Sir Owen, and this is the Popcast Network. This is our wrestling coverage, and we do it a little bit differently than everyone else does. If you're unaware, and if you're new, then welcome. And I will let you know that, like I said, I am not alone. No, join me as always. We have Ashley.
Oh, it's a shame that now the curve goes downward on the graph of interest.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people on Twitter that are a little bit butthurt right now, to say the least.
Oh my god.
But
I mean, technically they should be mixed hurt, because I don't know whether the result means said person could
no.
be. Who knows?
And last but certainly not least, joining us, we also have a great traveling Scott.
Dashboard view.
This is Scott's Dashboard Confessional, which has now made it to a live show and not just a free chat.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk NXT for the next who knows how long. So join us, and we're going to have some fun tonight.
Indeed.
So before we start, I do want to ask, because obviously I usually don't cover a pre-show. Ashley had to have watched the pre-show because he was a little bit perturbed when I talked to him when we started talking. So go ahead and elaborate.
We have a new host on the NXT pre-show.
Right.
Fucking Charlie Caruso. And no,
Yeah.
I don't mean that in a good way. I mean, I'd still hit that, but with what will be coming out of her mouth, I'd just put a pillow over it and gag her.
That's how we start our show tonight.
The way she was trying to get everybody, she was ready to watch the network because NXT's on.
Mm-hmm.
She sounded like a supermodel that needs her cocaine.
Oh, wow.
Like overly desperate sort of thing. But at the same time being sort of not genuine.
Okay.
And you could just feel that the angle of her questioning, Renee clearly not. Who's the other girl that isn't?
Kathy Kelly.
Yeah, Kathy would be a much better fit.
Oh yeah, but she's kind of doing stuff with the main product right now.
I mean, so was Renee Young for God knows how long.
Right.
But yeah, Charlie is just not a very good host. I mean, she's not a great interviewer either. Because I don't think she actually likes the wrestling business. Yeah. Mike Rome loves wrestling.
Yeah, he does.
Kathy Kelly loves wrestling. Tom Phillips loves wrestling.
Yes, they all do.
Renee wrestling. Quite literally.
Yes. Indeed.
Charlie Caruso. I don't know why she's there.
Looks, that's about it.
Jay Coleman or Dana Warrior.
Oh boy.
That I think could be the pity call.
Right. So,
although the only one good thing that came out of that bit,
right,
is they did a grand old video package for the opening match. The great thing is the way they built it. I was thinking, wait, they're not going to have the NXT title as the main event. They're actually going to have the Battle of Canada. Because it was the last thing they had. I was like, no, I'm going on the logic of really Hell in a Cell. I was like, what?
It's logical to me.
Yeah. Like, wouldn't have had the Twitter meltdown. I'd be tempted to go to Facebook Live to see what Triple H has got to say. But first, that choir was shit.
Glorious!
You see, I always expect there to be an improvement in entrance.
Right.
Rue's entrance is substandard shit. That, like, I don't know what the hell they were singing at the start. Were they supposed to sound out of tune? So when the piano comes in, playing the one note to make sure they're on the right key or something? I don't even know.
It's possible. I will state right now, as you probably know, if you remember from last time, we have Jeremy Mills in chat, and he is on the Wi-Fi at Tim Hortons right now because he just was at Takeover Toronto.
Did he get an Oscar mask?
Did you get an Oscar mask, Jeremy?
Or did they only hand him out to the people that paid $59 million for their tickets?
I think it looked like it was the first 3 rows. I might be wrong on that, but it looked like it was the first 3 rows.
It seemed like everybody on the floor got it.
It's possible. No, he didn't get an Oscar mask.
Jim Ross. Why didn't Jim Ross get an Oscar mask?
Why didn't Jim Ross get an Oscar mask?
Or Pat Patterson.
Yeah, that's a fair point. He said he was too high up. Where's your stuff is discussed on Wednesday, not
with
Saturday
most of
night.
With most of them, like, you know, wrestlers that come into NXT, they just come in for the shot and then they escort them back into the back. So
right.
I'm sure that was with Patterson and Ross, which is a head scratch. Why? Right. Oh, I'm sure he's got one.
They took my sign. What was your sign, Jeremy?
They wouldn't allow Hoodie Man.
No Hoodie Man signs allowed in the Air Canada Center, apparently.
We need a new sign. WWE fears Hoodie Man.
Yep, he said he had a Hoodie Man sign, and they took it. WWE, you're going to see what a Hoodie Man sign looks like in a couple months. But yeah, I mean, the show starts off with a battle.
Oh my god! And the thing is, I don't know what Ty was wearing.
All the weird, like the stuff that he had around his neck.
I feel like that was like from the Capitol, as in like from the Mocking Games or Mockingjay.
That was a Flash Gordon costume.
It was a Flash Gordon costume.
Actually, no. That's in the full collection for Tyler Breeze. That looks like a Zoolander piece. It looks like a Derek Zoolander outfit.
Yeah, I can see that.
But as far as Rude's entrance, I thought Rude's entrance was awesome to start off the show. And what the choir were singing was they were actually singing the bit from the song, but couldn't really tell. It was kind of like
that weren't even in that song though. That's the bit. That's the stupid thing.
Still, it worked. I mean, it's just like
no domination. No domination is mentioned in Glorious. Otherwise, would accuse the song of being BDSM.
Well, then you look at it. Well, look at it with Shinsuke's entrance from Brooklyn. At first, the violin player didn't play the actual song. So, what's the difference? I thought it worked. It worked. It was like that powerful start of the show that it needed. But Rude just does that anyway.
If you just let that choir do it a cappella, so they did it with the audience, and then actually cued it in the actual entrance music later. I'm just giving you ideas, WWE, for what to do in San Antonio or Orlando over the next 6 months. Just giving you ideas.
Everybody in the Air Canada Center was singing, according to Jeremy.
Yeah, makes sense.
And that came off really well on the broadcast, too.
Also, I like the fact that Ty Dillinger was in a wrestling match for the entirety of the 2.5 hours because they kept shouting 10.
Oh my god, that was hilarious.
Well, one way to look at it is, like I said, this is
more over than Pat Patterson.
The Battle of Canada, and it's taking place in Bobby Roode's hometown. And this was a big deal. And the fact that Dillinger was in here too, obviously they're both from Canada. They kind of downplay Dillinger's roots a little bit. It used to be a lot more. It's still announced, but it's a little bit more understated. They're both from Ontario, so it made perfect sense that this match would happen. And you got to think, somewhere in the back, Eric Young was watching this match, saying, "My boy finally made it."
Uh-oh. Okay. There was there was some interesting stuff. There was dark match stuff. Good old Jacob Cohen. We'll get to that. Actually, Jeremy could probably tell us if he got there early enough, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Jeremy, let us know if there's any dark matches. But yeah, I mean,
other takeover shows.
Yeah, of course. Or stuff they're gonna network content they're gonna put on for their weekly broadcast in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, this was the time for Ty Dillinger to shine. Bobby Roode is continuously shining, and this was just a really good showcase for both men. This is the match I really wanted to see tonight, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it delivered greatly.
I give it a solid 4 out of 5.
I was like, what? Jeremy says I didn't get there for any dark match.
So stuff has happened.
There was a Rich Swann dark match. That what you were telling me of.
Yeah, but there was other stuff that happened after it.
Would you like to elaborate before I get into describing the match?
So according to the notes from Jacob, Sanity ran him mid-match. Apparently.
Okay.
And beat up both guys, causing a no contest.
Oh, Eric Young got to be on the show somehow, so that's good.
I think. So I don't know whether these guys in another match. I'm not sure. Goes, the world's hanging by a thread. What did it get? They're going to know out and says they can take some tonight because he wants to quickly just turns into a 4-on-1 murder. So Owen is going to be pleased.
I do see that they filmed some things, just like I said, they filmed some things like they always do, that they're going to air on NXT television.
Yeah,
and they're going to air this Wednesday.
There was a 6-woman tag match with Aaliyah, Liv Morgan, and Ember Moon on Peyton Royce, Billy Kay, and Daria.
Yeah, I said on Wednesday that it would be Mandy Rose, but Daria. Yeah.
It's not like the other things. One of these things just doesn't belong. Can you guess which thing is not like the other thing? Before I finish my soul.
Daria.
Na 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 na.
Oh no! I like that, Daria. I like that.
Everyone should. Yeah, so that's what happened. That was happened before the show started. It was the match between No Way Jose calling out Eric Young, and that led to Sanity coming out and attacking. So yeah, I guess you get No Way Jose got beaten senseless by Sanity. That's good. I like that. I approve. I don't approve. I approve of the concept of Sanity, but I don't necessarily approve of who's in it. But yeah. She's still in NXT now, so I'm happy, regardless if she's in Sanity or not. So we kicked off the show, like I said, Bobby Roode, Ty Dillinger. Both guys got immediate great reaction. I'll give credit to my boy Mike Rome for shouting out Bobby Roode. The D is silent. It's just like Django.
Does that mean his finish? Does that mean his finisher tonight was the T?
So his finish is named after Christopher Plummer.
I was gonna say the Typhoon Monkeys.
Oh boy. So, like I said, a solid match. Crowd was really into it. They really split the crowd back and forth. A lot of this is awesome chants. Both these guys chants. Roode went for the Hangman's Neck Breaker, got reversed to a backslide for a near fall. And then he set it up again, and he actually hit it for a near fall later on in the match. Dillinger gets the upper hand later on in the match, stomps away in the corner to the 10, and of course, 9 times, and then the leaping stomp for the 10. Drops the knee pad, setting up for the tiebreaker, but Bobby Roode powders. So they fight outside, and he tosses Roode in, and he walks right into the double R spine buster. Gets a near fall off of that. A little bit later, Rude hits the superplex, and he starts mocking Dillinger. He drops the knee pad, goes for the tiebreaker himself, but he escapes. Super kick is caught, spun around, and he rolls him up, puts the feet on the ropes. Referee stops the count. Keep that in mind for later on in the show. So he rolls him up for 2, gets a near fall off a super kick, and he finally goes for the tiebreaker again, and Rude counters into the Glorious Drop, which is the new name for the implant DDT. But of course, that's countered out yet again. Dillinger locks the sharpshooter on, and kudos to Corey for making a reference to doing it on Survivor Series weekend. Yeah, I know. It's weird. Gets the ropes. Fight Forever champ breaks out. He rolls him up. They counter out. He tosses him shoulder first in the ring post, and he hits the Glorious Drop and gets the 3 count. Just a really solid match. After the match was over, the crowd was chanting 10 for Ty, and he just kind of left the ring. Very interesting. Ashley, you brought up an idea that this might be Dillinger's swan song with NXT, potentially.
That entrance seemed to look like it.
It's possible, and I know. I mean, see, I have been championing Ty Dillinger since day one. When I heard Sean Spears was getting a shot with the company again, I was super excited, really ecstatic to see what would happen, what would come out of it. And lo and behold, it's turned into what Ty Dillinger has become. And I'm very happy to see he finally made it. But what I worry about is if he gets brought up to the main roster, he's going to get lost in the shuffle. And I worry about anybody in NXT getting brought up to the main roster and getting lost in the shuffle right now. And we'll get to that in a couple matches from now. But solid match, really well done, put over both men. And very good way to kick off the show, especially in Canada. Do it with 2 Ontario boys tearing the house down. Ashley, your thoughts?
Very good opener. Great to see Ty being appreciated by a crowd.
No lie.
I sometimes think the Full Sail people really didn't give a shit. But they embraced both of them, you know. They loved Bobby and all his stuff. And then they clearly loved Ty more because the 10 thing went on for the entire show.
Right. I really hope that regardless if this is his swan song with NXT or if this is when he starts really picking up, I think that this is going to be a good year coming up for Ty Dillinger. And he's earned every bit of it, too. Scott, what do you think of the match?
Well, first of all, I remember Ty when he was first with ECW and OVW, and God, that was many, many years ago.
Gavin Spears.
Yep. Faintly remember him, but he was there. I remember.
Oh, yes.
But, yeah. This match was... The NXT... I don't follow the NXT show as hard as I should. Okay, right. I know the wrestlers, and I love watching takeover shows because that's where they just bring their A game. Even though, I mean, the NXT shows, the regular ones they still bring their A game, but this is like top level. And I love how the smart crowd, which they all are,
oh yeah,
they just automatically split, and even though they like both wrestlers, they'll still chant opposite. And makes the match feel a lot better and comes across TV or the network, whatever, way better than if you just seen 2 guys opening up a show and, you know, hopefully that one big move that they do, you know, brings the house down. That's not the case with these two. These two, they could have walked out of the ring and said, you know what, that's it.
Yeah.
Before it even started. I mean, holy crap! With the entrances and then Rude going back, we're trying to go around Ty, and Ty standing in the center of the ring, just not moving or flinching, was just like he was up for a fight. He wanted his revenge.
Right.
But overall, the match was really good. I was on the edge of my seat going through Louisville, like, oh yeah, come on, come on. Or not Louisville, but just going up through Kentucky, and I was like, wow, this is really good, and it was like that the whole night, and so it was a great start of a show. It really got the crowd fired up, which we knew going in that NXT crowds are, a fired up crowd.
Oh yeah.
And for some odd reason, it just they're at the Air Canada Center and 12,000 people. Did they cut that arena in half almost?
I know that they had problems selling the building out.
It is Toronto, after all.
I mean, they're not going to have a problem selling out Orlando because obviously that's
a
their backyard.
tiny venue. True.
Yeah, NXT out. Amazingly, he says. So that tells you how powerful nostalgia is.
Right.
But the way it looked like is they put the NXT set over top of the Raw set, because the Raw set is going to be used for Survivor Series tomorrow, and
yeah, but that's the idea.
Yep.
And then I think that cut back a section or about 4 or 6 sections.
Yeah. If you gave it this style graphics and like Tron stage, that means you're comparing NXT to Survivor Series, and they don't want that.
No, they really don't.
Well, I'm not saying that that's what they're doing. No, I'm just saying the NXT set was in front of, and it cut off a lot more of the arena, made it smaller. Because I figured them going to the Air Canada Center that they were going to sell out for NXT. It's not hard to throw up that set. They do it in a day, or not even a day, overnight. They can tear down the NXT one and throw up the Raw set for Survivor Series. So I was just like baffled. I was like, 12,000 people? That's a small crowd for a huge takeover event, especially compared to the last 2 or 3 when they've had 16, 18,000.
Unfortunately, with everybody going to the main roster, a lot of the names that everybody likes to cheer for are gone now.
Well, this just brought a lot more people back, because this show should have went like, well, there's talent on this roster and a lot of underappreciated guys, and they all got the show. Of course, there's a bigger roster behind them, so I don't know. That's just my opinion, but overall, Rude, Ty, 4 out of 5.
Yep. So we move on. And we move on to our next match. It is the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Classic Tag Team Tournament. And it's funny because they've been hyping up this WWE Crash Cage, which is one of their action figure play sets. And it even says, as featured on NXT TakeOver, and we've been waiting and waiting for it to actually happen. And sure enough, at Toronto, it finally happens. So they use the Crash Cage to hang Paul Ellering high above the ring, so the Authors of Pain would not have that advantage when they faced off against TM61.
Which is hilarious. Who thought before the match even started that structure was going to be used somehow? Just before the match.
It's very TNA of them.
Yeah. I was like, oh, they're going to climb up that. Maybe they might jump and, they might do something like you're on top of like one of the Authors of Pain and they grab onto the cage. I was like, oh, that would be cool too. Too high risk.
Well, considering though, which is known to be wacky country, somebody had to go wacky.
Yeah.
Because they don't allow the wacky backy. Yet.
it was Shane Thorne that went wacky this time around.
Mm-hmm.
Because what they had was one of the authors. It's hard for me to distinguish which one's which.
It's the other one besides Razor.
Yeah, it's Toka and Razor. Shredder's minions. I believe it was Occam that had picked him up on his shoulders, and he was climbing the structure. And that didn't end up going very far, and Thorne ended up doing a somersault onto him on the floor. Onto all three men, actually, including Miller as well.
It's full.
Huh?
It's full. How did he do a somersault?
He did a frontwards flip. He did a frontwards moonsault. Let's just say that.
No, I will not. It was a somersault.
Okay, Mr. Technicality.
Yes. Yes, I am Mr. Technicality and always have been.
Oh, shit. That's what the videos meant in CZW.
This match is just, I mean, it was kind of there for me. I don't like the Authors of Pain because the Pretty Boy Killers exist. And I'll keep saying that. Because when you have Lee and Taylor and Ring of Honor, you do not need the Authors of Pain. I like their presentation. I don't get what the upside of them is at all. Not much to this match, really. They went for Thunder Valley. Occam made the save. And crazy stuff happened. Miller with the Pescado, Thorne with the Tope Con Hilo. And Ellering took this time to drop a chain through the bars of the cage.
Which that's when my feed cut out. I had feed problems all night long.
Oh, God.
The mobile, I can explain this later, but the mobile feed that goes on the phones is so terrible.
I've never actually watched it.
It backtracks. Like during the last match, it got to like a minute or two in the match, and then it rewind into the beginning of Nakamura's entrance. Did that for like 10 seconds and rewind again to the beginning of Joe's entrance. I'm like, what the hell? Stop it. So, yeah. I missed the last like minute and a half of this Dusty Cup match.
Not much to it. So the chain shot is ducked. Roll up for near fall. And quick tag in, and they hit their finisher, which is the leg sweep lariat combo, the last chapter, and get the 3 count. Match over, and they celebrate with William Regal, Triple H, and Goldust. And they raise the cup in the air, and that's pretty much the end of it. This match was so-so. I wasn't a big fan of it. I think it was probably the weakest match of the night, but it still wasn't bad.
It needed to flip the reverse on the first Dusty Classic.
Agreed.
Because of course at the time Joe and Balor were faces when they won.
Correct.
So really it needed heels to win it this time. And especially because we all knew what was going to happen in the other tag match, and if it didn't, riots were going to happen. Yeah.
Any thoughts before we move on?
The fucking big trophy.
Yes, it is. On the actual match
it
itself.
Yeah, solid. I wouldn't. I don't want to say it's weakest match of the night, but
I'd say by default
It probably was, even though I'd still say it's one to watch, even if just for the autumn salt off that platform.
Yes. Kind of gave me Ring of Honor flashbacks, actually.
No, don't get me started on Ring of Honor. I've just seen the video that the Young Bucks have put up.
Ooh, we'll talk about that later.
Fucking Hurricane Rana melts a driver. What?
Yes! Scott, what did you think of what you got to see of this match?
It was a decent tag match. I mean, I could see the somersault coming off the structure.
Right?
Something was going to happen off that, or something was going to happen off the cage. But yeah, it was a solid tag match. I mean, it's interesting that they pulled the trigger on Authors of Pain, but then again, backing up your point, Ashley, was that a heel had to win. I don't necessarily believe that, but it's what happens. So,
Right.
which was, I think, what they should have did was they should have put this match in the 3-hole instead of the 2-hole, because they needed a buffer between this next tag match and the women's championship match. Because holy crap! Because the last hour and 15 minutes of the show just. Well, I would be drained if I was there. I'm sure Jeremy in chat is probably pretty drained after that last hour and 15 minutes, because oh my god, it just kept going and going and going.
He was probably just chanting, so it won't matter.
Right.
See, Scott, that's a good point, because basically what you did is for the first two matches, well, you hyped the crowd up immediately. You brought them right back down to the second match. You picked them up to the highest level of anything tonight, and then you dropped them back a little bit, but you still had something going in the semi-main, and then you brought them back up even more with the main event. So,
and then hell broke loose.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Hell froze over because I swore I heard crickets.
That's what fans.
We'll get into that later.
Yeah. So, let's talk about it. 2 out of 3 falls, NXT Tag Team titles on the line, the Revival defending against DIY. My God.
This was a 10 out of 5.
Yes. I said, and I believe Brian Alvarez said this too, this is going to be the match of the weekend. And I truly believe we saw the match of the weekend tonight. When it comes to the WWE broadcast, obviously. Not discounting anything I'm watching with Ashley tomorrow. Or today, depending on when you're watching this.
I don't know. I mean, spoilers. Me and Owen are watching ICW.
Yes.
I mean, there's some matches on there like Coffee versus Angle.
Yes.
And Wolfgang versus Trent Seven that have me very intrigued. But if you look at just from the WWE perspective, it probably is the match of the weekend.
Oh, God, yes. There is nothing on Survivor Series that has any chance of touching this match.
Then again, WWE didn't do a Hurricane Rana Meltzer driver.
I want to see this.
I mean, it's on the Elite's YouTube channel, so
I'll check that out later.
Seconds, so you could probably do it while I was talking randomly about something. I'm moaning about Charlie Caruso anymore.
Oh boy.
But yeah, this match did what it had to do, and that was deliver and right the wrong from SummerSlam.
Oh God, yes. So what happened in this match? I'm about to tell you. So
One fall.
yeah, thank you. One fall, exactly. First fall ends up going pretty quick, actually. So Gargano gets backdropped off over the top rope, lands on a ring apron. He sets up for the slingshot spear, and he gets caught with the shatter machine. And first fall immediately goes to the tag champs.
That was an amazing move. Oh my god.
Is that the first? Is that
Go
that's not
ahead,
the first
Scott.
time you? Is that the first time you saw the shatter machine, or are you talking about the whole sequence?
Just that sequence right there at the
Right.
the end of the first fall. I've seen it before, but not like how they executed it through the ropes, which
Oh,
was
yeah.
just it was. They should have had a better angle of that, which they didn't until then when they did all the replay stuff. I was like,
All right.
what?
Kevin Dunn.
Terrible, right?
You just made the list.
Stupid idiot.
So we progress to the second fall. Sequence starts off with tags to Scott Dawson and Tommaso Ciampa. Ciampa hits a shotgun drop kick, a running knee, 2 back elbows, a third is ducked, and a weird. It's basically like what would happen if the if the Rough Rider was reversed. It was kind of like a Rough Rider version of a rocker dropper. Got a near fall off of that.
That's how Rough Riders roll.
Yeah, pretty much. So Dash gets tossed out. Dawson rolled up. He escapes from it. Rolling German suplex and the running knee strike for a near fall. Ciampa barely gets that, but he doesn't get it all. They set up for the pile driver off the top, going for the spike pile driver. Dash gets tossed off the top. Flying body press to Dawson for a near fall. Dash eats a knee strike, and they finish him off with the Avada Kedavra running knee strike combination, and second fall goes to DIY. Crowd's hot for this at this point. Third fall. Well, a couple things we'll talk about in the third fall. So he goes for the bridging armbar. Dawson counters it into a crucifix roll up for a near fall. High kick from Gargano and elevated flatliner. Dash comes in with a uppercut to Ciampa. Gargano hits a swank slingshot DDT for a near fall. So they go for a suplex. He hangs on, tags in, hits the side kick, blind tag. European uppercut into a German suplex, but Ciampa makes the save. We move back to the setup for the finish. So Dash gets finally fed up. He grabs one of the tag belts from the outside. Ciampa comes in with a Cactus Jack clothesline. Both men go over the top to the floor. Gargano roll up, goes for the kick, and he catches the belt shot, and Dawson has been busted open hard way over his eyebrow. Keep that in mind. It's something that happens numerous times tonight. Goes for the inverted figure 4, but of course Gargano gets to the ropes. Wilder tagged in officially. And at this point, they set up the shatter machine, and it's turned around, and Gargano and Ciampa hit the shatter machine on Dash, but Dawson makes the save. Roll up with the tights, but the referee stops the count yet again. And I didn't mention this, but early on in the match, Revival hit a heart attack clothesline. That was rather interesting. I like that.
Of course, famously done by the hit Canadian wrestler Andy Kaufman.
Yes. So he posts him on the outside. Dash sends Ciampa into the ring post. Gargano with a super kick inside the ring. Dash takes the leg out, gets rolled up in a small package, and then countered back into a jackknife cover. Near falls for everyone. They do a series of reversals, and it ends up with Johnny Gargano with the Gargano escape and the bridging Fujiwara armbar. And it looked like at one point Dash and Dawson were going to hold hands and tap at the same time, but I think they lost their grip. but yet they still tapped out at the same time. So Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa are the new NXT Tag Team Champions. Just a phenomenal match.
Beautiful.
There is nothing on Survivor Series that has a chance of touching this match. Nothing.
Unless AJ does the Styles Clash on Braun Strowman and puts him out for life.
Well,
that might be the best moment of the weekend.
I can't advocate people getting injured, but it'd be an interesting visual.
He isn't a person. He just raw gimmick. He isn't a person.
He's saying he's a dinosaur.
No.
More like a tree.
For Jurassic World.
Yes. Just believable near falls. I love both teams using the other's finish. I like how the Revival set up the Avada Kedavra knee strike combination, but it ended up just basically ending with Dawson getting super kicked. I thought that worked really well. I like how the crowd was really respectful for both teams. And I think the Revival's stock has gone up exponentially ever since they first started teaming. We made the Anderson comparisons in the past, and I totally can see it, and I still can see it to this day. I know it's a very passé term, but they're definitely a throwback tag team, and they fit so well in NXT that I'm worried, very worried, that the next thing that's going to happen is something that Ashley and I already called, and that is the Revival going up to the main roster. Like now. As early as either this Monday night on Raw or this Tuesday night on SmackDown.
I don't think it'd be that soon.
Hey, who knows at this point?
When we have the tag team Royal Rumble match, because that's how we fill up 4 hours of a Royal Rumble pay-per-view, we'll do it then.
Can we just stop these 4-hour pay-per-views, please?
No.
Please.
Can we stop doing these 6 hours a month pay-per-views?
Well, WrestleMania I understand, and SummerSlam I understand, but everything else, no.
No, I meant the 2 pay-per-views every month from each brand.
Yeah, I think that we talked about it on Wednesday that they are trying to scale back some of the pay-per-views in 2017.
Not as much as people are hoping.
4 pay-per-views, that's all you need.
Yeah, they're all free from the network, so.
They've already got your money. They get $10 from you every single month. Well, for most people.
Except for those bastards that always get a new email address.
Yeah. You think they'd have like IP block or something by now, but nope.
Nope.
Easy. Then they just use VPNs probably, so it don't matter.
That's a good point. Speaking of that, Ashley, what do you think of the match?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. The storytelling that you got from it, the action, the sort of false finishes galore.
Oh God, yes.
It was an amped up version of SummerSlam, and that's what it needed to be.
And Scott?
Pretty much echoing what Ashley just said. The story and the SummerSlam Retribution match, and I like how they played it into the Dusty Classic. With DIY or what is it? DIY or DYI?
Yeah, do it yourself.
Do it yourself. Okay, DIY. DIY, and hitting their match, the Revival, and making this match, and 2 out of 3 falls. I mean, oof, it was a wild ride. I enjoyed their match at SummerSlam, But just like everyone else, I was hoping for DIY to win it, but they didn't until now. And I mean, if you're an NXT follower and you follow throughout all the shows and everything, this pretty much was like icing on the cake. And yeah, I totally agree. I don't think we're gonna see a match of this caliber at Survivor Series tomorrow. So
this wild ride you speak of, is it Mr. Toads?
Not on this coast.
more like
Candace.
Transformers. It was wild, bumpy, and no,
Scott
Spider-Man.
doesn't
We'll
get-
go
Scott
Spider-Man
doesn't
because
get
there's fire.
The
Spider-Man.
reference. We need to fit them in.
See, this is a thing that I think that they possibly could do, Ashley. You were talking about, and I was looking into Ticketmaster and checking the ticket dates for the Royal Rumble. And I noticed that the Royal Rumble is being held, obviously, at the Alamo Dome. The Raw taping is not listed. The SmackDown taping is, and it's not the Alamo Dome. It's another venue. So they're not allowing for NXT, even though we know that that's going to be the case because they've already said they're going to do 4 events in every town, same arena, save money that way. Makes sense. Why not? I know this is playing into something we're going to talk about later. Why don't we do NXT Iron Man? And we do Gargano and Ciampa versus the Revival and Joe and Nakamura in 2 Iron Man matches.
Well, that's like the entire show right there.
Can't complain, but whatever.
No one would complain about that.
Hell, the only Iron Man match we've had in this decade, at least in WWE, has featured women. So that sort of defeats the purpose of calling it an Iron Man match.
Right. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good things you could possibly do with this. This obviously the rematch is going to happen. Whether they do it, which makes more sense to do it in San Antonio. I don't think we wait till WrestleMania week. I don't think that happens. I think that they do this in San Antonio, or they may not, and then they will do the blow off in Orlando, which would be interesting.
I've worked it out. Somebody wins or retains the NXT title at the Rumble, and Rundo just to piss off Dixie Moore.
Oh God.
This makes perfect sense. Vince is just gonna go, yeah.
Bobby Roode comes out. It's like, I found the most glorious partner of all. And the next thing you know, James Storm walks out, and we get beer money
with an Asuka mask on. With an Asuka mask on.
I think. I mean, at Royal Rumble, I know you were just talking about this, Owen, but I think I forget the arena name, but it's where the Spurs play. I don't think they can freaking sell out Raw and SmackDown there at the Alamo Dome. That's obvious. But you already said SmackDown's already booked for that arena.
It's another arena. It's not Alamo Dome.
Yeah, I know. I forget the name of the arena, but it's where the San Antonio Spurs play.
Right.
So, and that's where they've done other events WWE has in the past. I think it's really interesting why they're doing the freaking Royal Rumble at the Alamo Dome. That is just a huge building. I went there, what was it, 2012? Lockdown? When Bully Ray returned on the crowd and became the leader of Aces and Eights.
Mm.
Yeah, that was amazing because that ring got filled with a bunch of crap because everybody in the audience was throwing shit. It was crazy. I was sitting front row. I got pegged with a couple bottles. That sucked. But
when's Rumble again? Date what?
January 29th, yeah.
Because right now it's American Bank Center Arena in Corpus Christi for SmackDown, which I'm gonna guess that's what's gonna be Raw, and Alamo Dome
That's
is
the
Rumble.
31st of January.
That's the 31st for SmackDown. Yes.
Corpus Christi.
Yes.
Then we know
Corpus
why.
Christi is next to the Gulf. It's about
Because
an hour and a half.
The AT&T Center, which is where the Spurs play.
Yes, so that's where Raw will be at.
Yeah, it's not listed yet, but they're listing a house show that night in Hidalgo.
The Spurs are scheduled to be taking on Oklahoma in the NBA on Tuesday night, which is probably that's why they're announcing all these shows so far ahead of schedule, because then they can book the arena for the whole weekend rather than what they've had to do for Survivor Series this weekend and Royal Rumble in January.
Is Survivor Series in the same arena, or are they doing it in the Rogers Center?
I believe it's all Air Canada Center.
No, they do.
Air Canada? Well, they should have done it in the Rogers Center because that would be crazy.
I don't know with the way the product is right now. I don't know if they could sell out the Rogers.
Only when it's WrestleMania. But I think we'll see. I don't think we'll see a WrestleMania in Toronto for a few more years. It's going to be a while now.
Well, Minnesota will probably, Minneapolis will probably get it next year.
From what I've,
or is it an arena?
It's a dome. It's a baseball field.
Considering we had Mania 30 in a dome, it's possible.
They've had WrestleMania there.
Fireworks, though. We know Vince likes his fireworks. He always likes something to do that the crowd can see and go, oh look, Katy Perry.
What
was he?
They didn't even have the freaking thing opened, and they still shot off fireworks on the outside.
Yeah, that was just bizarre and strange. I remember watching that on pay-per-view and being like, why?
Well, yeah, why is it not open? I don't even think they were expecting rain that night. But yeah, the Rogers Center is a baseball field, so it's kind of similar to Safeco Field when they had WrestleMania there. That was WrestleMania 18, I think. Because 17 was in Houston. So 18, I think, was in Safeco Field. That was The Rock versus Austin, the last match.
Safeco was 19.
19. Oh, so you're off. Give me a break. So I think they would, if they ever did it again in Toronto for WrestleMania, it'd be at the Rogers Center, that's for sure. But yeah, I think 18 you're going to see it in Minneapolis, and then 19 you're going to probably see it out west or down in Arizona again. Or not. Oh, Jesus Christ, I got my numbers all wrong. 34 is going to be in Minneapolis. 35 you're going to see in probably Arizona and or the West Coast again.
Yeah, I'm pretty positive it's coming back to Orlando by 40 at the latest.
Well, it seems like Miami and Orlando gets it every few years. Yep. It's been a little bit. It's the only reason why they haven't been back to Orlando sooner is because WWE's told Orlando that if they want WrestleMania back, you gotta fix the stadium. You gotta fix the Citrus Bowl, which they did.
Yep.
There's a video on it. They tore it all down pretty much except for the upper deck, which is all the bench seating, and they redid the bowl. So most of the seats have backs on them now. They have a new club section. So the Orlando invested a lot into it, and plus Orlando City, the soccer team, or FS if you're from, or FC if you're from England, invests a lot of money into it too. So that's the only reason why they're back. So I can actually see. So it's 33 now, probably 37 or 38. maybe 36. 36 might be in Miami, and then 39, maybe the 40th might be in Orlando.
I
By the
think
way-
40 is probably Orlando.
I'm going to be calling it now. The Royal Rumble in 2027 will be in San Antonio.
I think the Royal Rumble will probably be in San Antonio for years to come. It's a big freaking dome.
about it.
It's a 65,000 seat dome.
San Antonio hosted 97. San Antonio.
You're making a good point.
San Antonio. San Antonio hosted or will be
So you're
I
saying
think they
20
go-
years or 10 years?
in 2027. I think that's going to be sort of like, when they go to when they used to go to the Garden every 10 years for like, Mania 10 and 20.
50 has to be in New York. I guarantee 50's in New York.
Either 40 or 50 will be in AT&T Stadium. They're going to book that. They're going to jam pack it.
It's
Looking at it. San
Or-
Antonio, the only Antonio's done since Royal Rumble 07 was TLC
Nothing.
2009 and Vengeance 2011. So it's been 5 years since San Antonio has had a pay-per-view. So they're sort of overdue, considering
Yep.
places like Chicago gets practically one every 8 months.
Chicago, the main four cities that gets one every year is Chicago, LA, New York, and a Florida city. Or California city. I said LA, so that kind of wraps up San Diego and all the southern cities. But Florida city usually gets a pay-per-view too. It's the four biggest markets.
Yeah.
There's a big market too, but I have a feeling that they kind of burned their bridges a little bit with the last two shows they had.
Which
I know Vince wanted to run Ohio Stadium.
See, it's going to be tough during that time frame, but they did it with New Jersey. But here's the thing because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, why not Ohio Stadium for WrestleMania? My biggest question is, it's going to be cold still. It's not going to be the cold that the East Coast, gets, because it's a little bit warmer because you're getting the breeze off the ocean. But in the Midwest, it's going to be colder. When Lucas Oil opened up in Indianapolis, there's rumors that because every new huge stadium that opens up usually holds some sort of WrestleMania or Super Bowl. Well, the Super Bowl was held there, and everybody was questioning why wasn't WrestleMania at Lucas Oil. So Indianapolis could possibly get it. I always thought, bring it to Green Bay. No, too cold. Because Lambeau Field can hold 84,000.
Right.
But I think the setup on it is just a little weird because it would take off about 15 to 20,000 people. And I think that's when they look at stadiums, they look at the setup. Can we get the most people we possibly can? What's nice about Orlando and the Camping World Stadium or Citrus Bowl, if you're old school, is that north end is flat, and it still is flat. So they, like they did on 24, they set the stage up on there, and the ramp went straight down to the ring. So sure, they lost the 6 or 4 or 5 sections right there at the end of the stadium, but they weren't sacrificing a bunch of seats either. And then you had the lagoon in the back, and you can have a barge worth of fireworks on there and just light up the sky and burn people,
I've just noticed the last pay-per-view of the year has got a different name now. It's now entitled Roadblock End of the Line.
Interesting. I knew it was Roadblock,
why did it need a subtitle? Why did it?
Why does it even make sense? It doesn't even make sense with it right there. But I get what they're going to try
No.
to say.
You
Roadblock
thought the
going into Royal
Roadblock would be
Rumble.
on the road to WrestleMania. Yeah.
Now they're going to try to say that the Roadblock is the start of WrestleMania, which leads into the Royal Rumble, and then you go into Fastlane and blah, blah, blah. When is Elimination Chamber coming back is my question.
It just kind of depends at this point.
Well, we haven't had one this year.
Nope.
It's going to become a specialty. Like, they're going to prop...
Elimination Chamber is going to become the new Hell in a Cell, in that you're only going to see it every once in a while for special occasions.
But they got a damn whole show named Hell in a Cell.
That now is cheapened because it's there every year. Hell, we had it twice this year. Thanks, Shane.
Right. But I think remember when they did it in Corpus Christi?
Mm-hmm.
Like out of the blue, like, hey, tune in this Saturday on the network. We're having the Elimination Chamber at a house show. They even had the house show set. It wasn't even a real.
That wasn't that.
Yeah, we'll just bring the chamber from New Jersey.
That wasn't the house show, though, was it? Could never be considered a house show when it was the most important match of 2015.
Right.
Fucking Kevin beats Cena! Yeah!
Yes.
It was an amazing show, though. That's probably why they were like, we got to make this a special show. If we're going to pull the trigger on it, we should make it a special show. Well, we got the Elimination Chamber, and we just took that off the calendar. Oh, just give a call to Jersey at the warehouse.
So on that note, we get to our semi-main event.
Hey, Mickey, you're so fine. Hey, Mickey.
The return of Mickie James.
Which I missed the entrance. Wasn't loud.
She got a decent reaction.
Smarks.
Mickie, yeah. Crowd was stunned because Mickie was coming out to the music that she came out to in WWE.
Yes.
Because most of them have probably seen her doing her stuff in TNA since. They were expecting like hardcore country or something else to happen, not like the sort of candy pop sort of music that she had, which was in the. The only thing she was missing is doing the V's over her mouth and then licking between them. That's the only thing that was missing.
Yes. Well, she usually did that during her feud with Trish Stratus. Did you hear in the middle of the match there's somebody chanting?
Asuka's crazy. Asuka's just as crazy. Also, she's done some pretty good. Oh, what the shit is it called? It's got some Japanese name. Oh.
Which means tomorrow.
It's like porn. It's like porn. Damn it. I can't remember. It's like
what, her name
or something. No. A lot of the Asian women wrestlers do this.
You mean wear a thong on the outside of theirs?
No, they're basically just in. Remember the like Divas Do New York releases that they did,
right?
Whatever. Basically that, but because it's Japanese, some of it got a little more rated R, but not porn sort of that thing.
Mm.
There's a term for it, and I can't remember what it is.
Hentai or not? No, I'm terrible.
Hentai?
It's not hentai. It's not that. It's not as pornographic as hentai, but it's, I don't know, sexually suggestive. So it's like Super Mario Brothers.
Or softcore porn, just without all the tits.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sort of soft.
Showtime special?
I think it's called. Yeah, it's like Grave or something. Let me look. Yeah, this is a good thing to put in bloody Google.
Yes, gotta get it.
I don't even know what's going on right now.
I'm kind of lost too.
Anyway. So yeah, good reaction. Not as good as I thought it could have been, but then again, it's all right. One thing I will say about this match, everything was very colorful.
I agree.
Mickie James looked very much like she could have been Bayley's mom. Or older sister in this case, because they're very close to ages. With
parachute pants too. Which I don't remember her wearing too much back then, but I didn't remember if they were that big or a little bit small.
Asuka masks, like we mentioned earlier, there's Asuka masks for everybody. And I saw the first 3 rows. I don't know if it went deeper than that.
Yeah, they did an overall shot, like when she was in the ring, and the crane camera went over the crowd by the ramp, and you can see people passing masks down the row. Unless people didn't want them, and they were just passing them down to other people. So I don't know, but hey, that's free shit from WWE. You take it.
Right.
Don't cry about it.
All right, so basically the hip attack was one of the major moves that was used during the match. She had a rebound version of it, and Mickie goes to the floor, and then she gets on the apron, and hip attack knocks her off. Later in the match, she was working as a heel, locked on an octopus in the ropes, and doing the Bryan Danielson I got 5, basically, counting down it with the ref. Thought that worked really well. She hits a bunch of round kicks and a drop kick into a half crab, which Mickie locks on. She turns it into the Moodle lock. Asuka gets the ropes. We move back a little bit later on in the match. She hits a deadlift flapjack, and she heads up top for seated senton for a near fall. She goes for the Mickie DT, but it's countered into a cross arm breaker, but she gets the ropes. She kicks her in the knee. The Mick kick connects, and Asuka gets a foot on the bottom rope right at 3. So she goes for the Mickie DT again, but it's countered again, going for the Asuka lock. They fight out. They fight. She tries to flip her off. Asuka rolls her back into it, and she locks it on, and Mickie taps. So clean win. After the match is over, Asuka is getting ready to celebrate. Mickie extends her hand, and Asuka just raises the title above her head and then leaves the ring. Heelish tendencies, because obviously if the next program is going to be against Ember Moon, they're going to have to turn Asuka quick, and that's a good way to do it. Match was solid for what it was, honestly. Mickie James didn't really show any ring rust. Not as much as a lot of people probably thought she should have. This match worked pretty well for me. I actually liked it a lot.
I mean, Mickie was only off for, what, maybe a year?
Yeah,
because she had a baby, right?
Yeah, but you can develop a lot of ring rust being gone for a year.
True, and she looked freaking amazing still.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought the match, since Ashley's probably still, looking for whatever he was looking for.
Random weird thing he's looking for.
Yeah, I think I thought the match was, it was slow and methodical. Like, it was, what the hell is that? I'm sorry, I'm going by, okay. Just went through Cincinnati. I'm on the north side of Cincinnati, and there's like all these poles like standing out of the ground. It's a big, driving range. Anyway, but the match was slow at first. I mean, again, this is another part where my feed stopped. I was pissed. It's not before the match too. Like it did the same thing. Like I said earlier, it showed part of Mickey James' entrance, then jumped back, showed Asuka's, and then it froze. Then I had to back out, close it all. Oh, so but and I didn't catch. I caught the end of the. I barely caught the end of the match. I caught like the celebration and whatever. And but I thought Mickey did really well. Great debut. Um, I think she would have had a bigger pop if it was Raw or SmackDown, but obviously she's going to probably be another trainer down in NXT, which is good for her.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
She's probably got a home already set up in Orlando, so it just makes perfect sense.
The
Um,
important thing is they've left the door open in terms
oh
of
yeah,
whether it's not like that's her done with shake hands, respect sort of thing.
true. I
That
mean, and then
finish left it. Hell, we might even see Mickey James on some
on
of
a
the
program.
NXT tapings.
Yeah,
head into the Rumble.
I could.
I mean,
easily
obviously
see
she's still in perfect ring shape. She's not much younger than Trish, because Trish retired shortly. Well, Mickey stayed for a few more years and then she left. So I think Mickey has a few years left in her if she really wanted to continue in the ring, which I mean could be a possibility. I don't see her being on one of the main brands though.
Keep in mind as well, okay, it's a men instead of women, but the two men in your main event tonight are 36 and 37. So they're not spring chickens either, and they're in the second tier.
And Rude's up there too.
Yeah. Certainly Kevin was. Asuka is, she's 35. So, yeah. It's weird that these wrestlers that should have been in the company years ago, chances now.
And they're taking the ball and running with it. And it's crazy.
Check on Mickey's age.
I think Mickey's 33 or 34.
Yeah, there's the irony. Mickey's 37.
Yep.
Well, she's older than I thought.
He is older.
Wow.
He is older. By the way, it's called Gravure, Gravure. But yeah, it's basically just. Apparently, there is like one match on the thing, which is a typical Asuka match, and then she's just in a bikini for the rest of it. So it's sort of like the old Divas DVDs.
Oh boy.
In that sense. But yeah, it's that sort of. I can't remember what I was talking about in terms of that in the reference to. Oh yeah, because of the whole Mickey James doing the lick thing. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Because yeah, in her former life, Kana did some pretty sexy shit as well.
Could it
Probably
be a true?
just as
Could it be
risque as doing the whole lick thing?
and being like deeply in love with Trish? That whole program was amazing.
How some Japanese people probably feel about her, there better be extra fucking security when NXT Japan next week.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Her and Nakamura are gonna tear it down. Do you think this is just a possibility and assumption? Do you think they brought her back? Maybe that they might put her in the Hall of Fame next year
for 28, maybe,
I think
but not next year.
They've brought her back for the like show of respect and down the line. I think I think due to circumstances very similar to Macho Man, there is a very obvious choice as to who goes in the Hall of Fame on the women's side this year,
Absolutely.
because they can do it without there being any sort of scandal. Because, no disrespect, she isn't alive anymore.
Right.
So she can't be a superstar Billy Graham and suddenly, renounce the ways of the Vinnie Mac. Yeah, if you can't read between the lines, I'm pretty much saying China's a lock in to go in the Hall of Fame next year.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Down the line, I mean, it depends, where they do it and whatever. I don't think you can do a woman every year, putting women in that don't deserve it. Then again, if the rumors are to be believed and Minnesota is going to get 34, dare I say Sable?
I think that's a good that's almost a guarantee.
And then it depends where you go after then.
Because that's when that's where I put Rude in the Hall of Fame too. Do it in Minnesota. It makes perfect sense.
I would honestly do some of the old timers before you did Mickey. So like, your Bull Nacanos.
Oh yeah, totally.
And
Maybe Ivory.
yeah, because she would be before the Mickey James era.
Mm-hmm. Even Victoria too.
Oh yeah, well, Victoria, Tara, whatever the hell she wants to be called.
Right, yeah.
Lisa.
Pizza maker? Yeah. Got a restaurant.
Yeah, I saw a guy in the front row tonight wearing a squared circle shirt. So yeah.
Billy Corgan was in the front row. We saw that Billy Corgan guy in the red hat, didn't we, Owen?
I did see Jim Ross and Pat Patterson though.
Oh no, they were legit. The other one, I swear it was him.
All right.
He was overjoyed at DIY winning, from what I remember. He lost his shit.
The last Raw I went to, Sign Guy was in Green Bay. I'd like to know how he gets the frickin' money.
He doesn't have the money. He's got connections.
He's got a lot of good connections.
He's got his own line of Gravure DVDs that people buy.
Oh my God.
Whoa!
I knew there
TMI.
was a purpose to remembering that. I knew there was a purpose to remembering what that term was. Oh, thank you, Japan-based craziness.
Speaking
I
of
need to get to
Japan,
Japan.
speaking of Japan-based craziness, let's talk about the main event.
Oh, sorry, I thought we were going to talk about the Young Bucks and the Hurricane Rana Meltzer Driver.
Oh, God dang it.
Sorry, I can't say enough about that move.
God dang it.
I saw a video on Facebook of the Styles Clash moonsault off the top rope. That was insane.
That isn't the stuff. That's the Meltzer Driver. With the added Hurricane Rana from
my God.
Will Ospreay.
Yeah.
You have to say it like that because the Japanese don't know how to say it. Because they could easily spell his name right, but if you look at the graphics any time for a New Japan show, they actually call him Will Ospreay. So they drop the R from his name altogether because they know people will say it, and because the Japanese tongue apparently can't deal with the R sound of words. That's why if they did, it'd sort of sound like Osplay, so it'd just sound weird. So to get round it, they basically just remove the R from any word if they can. That's why Shinsuke Nakamura doesn't have any R sounds in it. So that's why him versus Samoa Joe is perfect, because there's no R sounds.
God. So we normally are.
Joe's gonna kill you. Joe's gonna kill you.
We are used to very extravagant entrances for Shinsuke Nakamura. This was none different. It was done a little bit more understated, but it still was just as outrageous.
It built to craziness.
It built to craziness.
We had an unrope assisted yayo, and the bloody one. The one girl on the violin was getting way into it. It was like, I'm getting in your face as you fall to the floor. It's like, what?
Okay, so it starts off with one, and then there's another that appears. And as Nakamura actually comes down the aisle, different violinists just started appearing. And by the time we were all said and done, there were 8.
Yep.
An incredible experience, and
none
of them were really playing because they were just plants. That's what I think.
Yeah, no, you're right. None of them had packs on them or anything, so they were all just playing, but you would never hear it.
Some of them weren't playing. I can't say authentically because I never did really become an expert at the violin, but some of the actions they were doing, it was like top range people would do that, and I don't think WWE's got that money because they gave too much to the Donald.
Well, I also think too that
believe the root.
There's one part where they pluck on the actual song. There's one part where they plucked the violin, and there's only a couple people that plucked. All the others just kept on, fiddling, and I was like, what the heck? Okay, they're not mic'd at all.
People are getting plucked, people are getting fiddled. This all sounds like a 1970s British sex comedy.
Or a Japanese.
But
so,
yeah, it was still awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially, the fact that they only bothered to turn the lights on when the bell rang. It's like, for a minute, I thought we had a power cut again. Super Bowl all over.
Bound for Glory.
Yeah, but with that one, you could tell that the meter ran out because the power gradually went off. It wasn't just like in complete darkness like it was for Joe and Nakamura's entrances.
And someone that's actually been a part of Nakamura's entrance when it was just 1,000 people, and it's just completely bonkers. I can only imagine what it's going to be like with tens of thousands of people.
I'd want to ask Jeremy how over was he, sort of in comparison to Rude and Dillinger earlier on in the night. Consider, was Nakamura just, or was he less? He isn't glorious, even though he's swag, king of swag style.
God, let that die, please.
What?
Sorry, Mario. Let that die.
Yeah, but I know I said king of swag style. I don't think even Moro said that.
So the main event, actually, the bell rang at 9:58.
Chinlock.
Yeah.
No
Chinlock horn tonight. I'm waiting to see if there's a response from Jeremy. We'll see. Well, I'll keep watching.
Yeah, we'll see.
A lot of good stuff from Joe, as always. He hit his normal high spots. Nakamura charged in, ST Joe in the corner, and Snapmare back chop. Instead of dropping the knee drop, he did a Muda elbow instead for a near fall. He basically tied up the feet and drove his knees into the canvas, kind of like a Manhattan drop style. That was really interesting. I've not seen that before. Later on in the match, Joe hits the elbow suicida, and they fight on the outside. Joe gets rolled in, near fall. Joe gets his combo, his Manhattan drop, Yakuza kick, back senton, 1-2. Nakamura kicks out. Power bomb into the high Boston Crab into the STF. Nakamura bridges back for the near fall, goes for the cross arm breaker. Joe counters out, rolls him on his shoulders, 1-2, and a kick out. It's a snap power slam, gets a near fall off of that. Transition later on in the match. Nakamura heads up top. He's on the middle rope this time. Hits a Bomaye, and it's just pretty much nothing to it. There was no pinfall or anything. It was something that just happened in the match. So they're trading blows. Nakamura gets the upper hand. He sets up for the inverted exploder. Joe elbows out of it. Suplex is countered. Joe gets caught with a release German, and he misses the charge. Roll up. Joe trips up Nakamura with a leg sweep. Puts him on the buckle, goes for the muscle buster, gets countered. Kinshasa count 1-2 and no kick out. He goes for it again. Joe locks in the Kikina clutch, and he gets countered by Joe into the German, into the Dragon, into the straight jacket. Yes, he hit the Chimera Plex, which we have not seen Joe use in a long time. Joe's been busted open at this point, the second victim of an eyebrow. So he ducks the shot, and Joe gets sent to the outside with another Kinshasa. Referee is backed up at this point. Looks like he's going to set up again, and Joe kicks Nakamura in the wing wang. Hits the STO on the steps. Well, it actually hits an Adao Itachi on the steps. And rolls him in, puts him on the buckle, hits the muscle buster. And so many people lost and won money when Samoa Joe, for the second time, became NXT champion. I'm telling you, it's just like all the smart money was on Nakamura retaining, and they put the title back on Joe.
And that crowd was eerily quiet about that.
Oh, yeah. Except for the 8 people in the crowd that bet on this match and actually went against their friends and bet Samoa Joe and took home a nice chunk of change tonight.
It was kind of odd seeing that all happen and then watching Joe get the title back. I was like, I swear it was set up for Shinsuke to come back to win. The whole match was set up for him to come back to win. What happened? Did he get injured in the match that we don't know about?
No.
Because man, that splash that Joe did on him, I was like, ooh, there goes a couple ribs.
Nakamura, I'm positive Nakamura has dealt with worse. And the thing, Scott, that I look at it is this way. If you really go back and watch the match, it was very even until we got to about the very end. And Nakamura hit knee strike after knee strike after knee strike, and he couldn't put Joe down. And Joe didn't win clean.
No, he didn't.
So there's a story here.
True. Let me quiz your guys' brains, because I swear to God, it's the first time I've seen him do it. That was the first time Nakamura's done a German suplex or any kind of suplex. He's always done a lot of kicks and knees and punches.
I don't know if
I'm pretty sure he's done suplexes and stuff in the past, but everybody popped really hard when he did that.
Well, he does a reverse exploder,
it's probably the first time he's done it in the E.
It is the first time he's done it in the E.
Because remember, Nakamura's had MMA matches.
Yes.
Legit MMA matches in Japan.
Which that's where he gets his strong style from. I get that.
So, It was more of you actually seeing the strong style out of him. At first it was sort of he obviously toned it down from what it was,
Oh yeah.
but clearly because they know that sort of thing is the hot mess, then it needs to be a thing.
And it worked really well because he got him up with ease when he put him on the buckle and hit the running knee strike. And it's just like everybody went crazy for it, and there was just telegraphing a win. And Joe hit all his normal spots, and then he broke out the Chimera Plex, which, like I said, I don't think we've seen the WWE ring yet.
No, that was the first time.
Yeah.
He might have done it in house shows, but as far as like on like network and pay-per-view or TV, that's the first time he's done it that I know of.
Yeah, I remember him doing it, like, not necessarily on the regular in TNA, but he did it a lot. He did it every once in a while in TNA, and I know he did it a ton in Ring of Honor. But that's the first time I remember seeing him break that out in NXT and in the WWE ring. And I'm telling you right now, it's just, when stuff like that comes out in the match, you know that something special is coming out of it. You're seeing something that you're not used to seeing. Like when Kenta used Go to Sleep for the first time.
Right. Or when Styles pulls out a new move that we haven't seen yet.
When Styles did that Styles Clash for the first time.
Yeah. Like people that are long time
Curtis Axel.
Oh yeah. When people are longtime fans and they see these moves that they remember seeing from the indies, or they may have seen live and they actually see them in WWE ring, it's one of those things like, oh, this is real now. This actually happened.
Wait, if you were on this call tomorrow and Kevin Owens did a package pile
driver, yes,
Owen would scream like a girl.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like, okay, you remember the Money in the Bank match between Cena and CM Punk.
Yes.
Cena pulled out moves that nobody's ever seen him do, and he's done that like over the years in high-profile matches. He did it a few times with Owens with the U.S. title.
Right.
And I mean, he would pull out like the springboard stunner and.
Oh God, I hate that move. It looks so horrible.
It is a horrible move. I think Ember Moon does it way better, maybe because she's a chick and I like this. Right. So, yes.
No, that's what we call Cena's springboard, somewhat ace crusher. We call it the heel turn.
That's funny. That actually makes sense. But, I mean, we've seen wrestlers do this, and I mean, like,
right.
I'm sure CM Punk helped Cena get those moves, and then they can add it to the match. And as far as I know, that pile driver, CM Punk hit on Cena, he got pitched at.
Now, if Punk would have broke out the Pepsi Plunge, the place would have erupted.
Oh, I'm sure. No, I'm just saying that when he performed that pile driver on Cena, from what I've read and heard, Vince had none of that. He was pissed.
Gotta protect your top guy. But,
yeah, but that was so safe, though. It's like there was like nothing that could happen.
The thing is, with a match like this tonight, a lot of people were thinking right off the top that this was going to be, and we even said it on Wednesday, this was going to be Joe's swan song, and he was going to move up to the main roster right after this match.
Now what?
Which is funny because didn't Kevin Owens also go up to the main roster when he was still NXT champion last time?
Yes, he did. Yep.
So Joe showing up at Survivor Series tonight is not unheard of. Not likely, but not unheard of.
It'd be interesting. Maybe there's an angle that goes down that somebody gets injured.
If you
we got to call reinforcement.
Hard way, I'm sort of because he got busted open, Vince will probably go no.
Yeah, I mean,
Vince is a wuss
the
now.
best thing I'd love to see come out of tomorrow night or tonight, depending on when you're listening to this or whenever you're listening to this. It will never happen in a million years, but it'd be something I'd love to see. In the middle of the main event of Brock and Goldberg, Joe comes out, chokes both of them out, and raises the title above his head. That's what I want to see. Won't happen, but that would be a moment. And they're talking about there being a big moment at Survivor Series. Now, granted, we've heard this a billion times. Like, is The Rock going to show up? Is there going to be another match added to the show that's like 17 hours long that has 6 matches on it? I mean, come on, they've got to do something.
Well, yeah, if you think about it, what was it, 2 years ago? When nobody, the rumors were circulating, but nobody was sure.
Right.
And then Sting showed up.
Right. Oh my God, I was at work watching that. I was literally watching that. Forgot to lock the doors as we were watching it.
It was so amazing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you had last year with the infamous
Dolph Ziggler
booing Roman.
Oh well, I thought the
and then
biggest
Sheamus cashing in,
right,
and getting booed himself. That was the best night in Survivor Series history, because they hated the champion, and then when they brought the other guy in, they hated him just as much. It was like, wow, that's awkward.
Well, I think we're setting up for Rock's WrestleMania program, because if you notice, Rock has new merch, and usually they don't put out new merch for Dwayne unless there's a point to it. So
Dwayne is showing up.
Fast 8.
He's showing up at
Fast 8.
No, he's showing up at Survivor Series. I believe it.
And it might be at the end of the match.
Is that like out in the spring?
Oh
no, they're filming Jumanji now, so it wouldn't be till the summer.
The rumor right now is they want to do Brock and Rock at WrestleMania this year. That's what I'm hearing at the latest moment.
Oh.
I've heard Brock and Shane. That's an option right now.
That makes sense.
The match I want's not going to happen unless it happens at the Rumble.
What's the scoreline between Goldberg and Lesnar currently?
Well, it's 1-1 right now.
1-0 Goldberg.
1-0
Goldberg's 1-1, and that's it. That's the only match they've had.
What's
Brock's
the
gonna win.
scoreline between Rock and Brock?
I believe Brock is 1-1.
1-0.
They face each other, which Brock won.
Right.
There's enough of your story, If Brock could get his mojo back and beat Goldberg, why couldn't Dwayne?
Okay. Let's say right now, for sake of argument, you have Rock and Brock at WrestleMania. You have Cena and Undertaker at WrestleMania. You have Owens and Zayn at WrestleMania.
I don't think you.
Owens and who?
Zayn.
Sammy.
Oh.
We're still in the world.
I don't know about that.
Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know. I'm still umming and ahhing over whether he'd go and take on Owens or whether he'd take on AJ.
He'd take on Owens.
Because either way, it'd be pretty damn awesome.
I think AJ's going to face somebody that's not on the roster right now.
Because and then I wonder if WrestleMania is going to have the story that they were going to have last year and have it be Rollins versus Triple H.
They might do that.
It's pointing towards it. I mean, the story.
Like Night of Champions.
Don't forget Bryan and The Miz.
Yeah.
That's custom made.
I think they're going to give Bryan the green light.
I think he works Miz at Mania. I'm telling you, and I'm building WrestleMania up for myself so badly right now that the card that they come up with is no way it's going to be close to what we want, but I think it's still going to deliver.
Better deliver. It's gonna be 7 hours of freaking entertainment.
7 hours of sitting in one spot too.
And I'm a smoker, and that's terrible.
Oh
I'm
my
gonna be
god!
like, ah! I might have to get patches.
I'm gonna have to take video of you like throwing like dinosaur fits because you can't smoke.
Now, usually some of those big events like that, they have some sort of smoking section. Like, you got to go all the way down to the bottom of the arena to do it, but we'll find out. I might just be all right. I've done it before. I mean, I've done Kenny Chesney concerts. That's 6 hours right there.
6
I've
hours.
sat through. Well, you got 2 main acts.
Oh, the festival.
Which this past time was. It was kind of like a festival lineup. You got 2 main acts, and then you got like 3 supporting acts. It's a long concert. You start drinking, you just start having fun, and you just forget about it.
There's not enough Pepsi in the world for me. But yeah, I mean, it's really the concept about this match. Everybody thought they had it figured out, and then they changed everything up on us.
Which they've done that before plenty of damn times.
Oh yeah.
Like, who would have thought Brock was going to beat freaking Undertaker?
Oh God, I will never, ever forget that to my dying day.
Oh, same here. I was sitting on my buddy's couch, stunned. I was like, "Did that just? What the fuck? What?"
Well, I mean, I didn't care about the streak anyway because Ed should have broke it. I always said that. Ed should have been the one that broke the streak. Bray Wyatt should have broke the streak.
CM Punk.
Punk should have broke the streak. Yes. I mean, all these options should have happened anyway. And it's funny because if you look back in history, the person that was originally going to beat The Undertaker right away was King Kong Bundy at WrestleMania 11. There wasn't going to be a streak. Luckily, they changed their mind. But yeah, I mean, I didn't really care about the Undertaker streak, but I was at a WrestleMania party at my friend's house, and he was like the world's biggest Undertaker fan on the face of planet Earth. And he like even turned out the lights in the room when Undertaker came out, and we weren't really talking through the show and everything. We weren't allowed to really say anything during the Undertaker match. And I saw Brock hit the F5, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be a great false finish. 1, 2, and then the ref counts 3, and my friend looks at. Oh no, this is great. My friend looks at the person he went to the party with. He's like, "We gotta go." And then my friends. That was exactly the words. Will said Ben said we gotta go, and next thing you know, Will just goes, and then it's like we gotta get out of here because Will's about to like throw like a massive tantrum, and something's gonna get broken. Luckily, it didn't, but we were all scared. People are pissed, exactly.
What's intriguing about that whole match, especially the final F5 and the count, the 1, 2, the ref looks, he says something. 3, like, did somebody just talk in his ear? Hit 3.
Yes.
He was told the last second.
Oh yeah, they were judging the crowd, and the crowd was all for Undertaker, and he said, "Stay." 3, done. Streak over.
They planned on doing it that way, and to this day, Vince still kicks himself for it. Everybody knows it.
True, but Undertaker had the last word.
Yeah, for the most part. And now he's, like he said, an event is not going to WrestleMania is not going to define his career. So
something else will. Now it's like what?
We'll see. I mean, he probably will. He will show up tonight at Survivor Series. I almost guarantee it. Now, what he does is anyone's guess.
Mm-hmm.
It'll set up his. It may. I mean, the thing is, I'd say it set up his WrestleMania program. Cena's not going to be a Survivor Series unless he's pulling a fast one on us.
Right.
And I think I think we both said the same things, didn't we, in terms of picks for tonight, didn't we?
We went exactly the same except for and even the main event, which we all got wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, I kind of threw away the picks, so I don't remember who had what for the rest of the year. So.
But as far as this Joe Nakamura match, it was still a great match.
Yeah, totally.
And, and that's what gets you by it. That's what draws us in as fans. Like,
yeah,
we can predict as much as we want. Half the shit ain't gonna come true, first of all, and the other half, even if we're right about the prediction, it can be. I'm sure they had it. I'm sure Triple H had it in pencil. Nakamura wins, but then something hit him, and he was like, "You know what? We're gonna do Joe. We're gonna make this crowd in shock."
No, I think Joe is always gonna win the night.
I don't think Paul Levesque is as stupid in terms of last-minute booking switches and Vince's.
Joe is always going to take
point Hell in a Cell. Point Hell in a Cell. If Triple H was there, he would not have said Sasha drops the title to Charlotte.
Not even close.
Which is why Triple H needs to stay as much as possible as Triple H's baby.
I agree.
Because if Vince even tried to get involved, the quality of that show would just begin to deteriorate badly.
Right.
I totally 100% agree with that.
How? He's proving to be a better fucking McMahon than the actual McMahons.
Yep.
Do you think him and Stephanie talk about NXT, about how to book it?
Yeah.
Well, Stephanie has a lot more of a say than most people think she does.
She
I know.
She doesn't have a clue about it. She doesn't have a clue about this shit, but Triple H listens.
Right.
Because there might be some good ideas. Hell, it might have reached out to try and get Mickey in to mix it
Maybe.
up. Well, she is a very PR friendly person, but at the same time, she's a heel, but also the face of "Don't be a bully, be a star." Paradox.
That's true. I think it's just what Triple H is showing with NXT. It's really, really promising for us, lifelong fans, that the company will be going in a good direction if once Triple H takes over the reins, because that's obviously what's happening. Shane's not there to take over the reins. I don't even think he wants anything to do with it.
It's sort of happening.
Right.
It's sort of happening. I think Stephanie would take over, but I think in terms of the whole guerrilla position, sort of management and planning stuff, I think she's got enough faith. She's got enough faith in Paul to know he knows what he's doing. Because she's very good on the marketing sort of side. Trying to come up with the ideas to, get the brand out there and to win all these web awards and whatever that they've won.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, it's going to be kind of like similar to the setup.
History you've got with Triple H as well. He could easily become a babyface boss or a heel boss in the blink of an eye.
Yeah. I think it's going to be kind of like the similar setup that Vince and what's the wow, her name escapes me. What's Vince's wife's name?
Oh, Donald Trump.
Stephanie's mom.
I thought Vince was married to
Nah.
Donald Trump. Hell, he gave him enough money that you might as well call it alimony.
Right. Oh, now you're the president, so we can't have you on the program for 4 years.
Yeah, but his wife could be.
Imagine going to right.
I don't know what's going
Sure,
on with
no.
that. I think she can't be picked probably because yeah. Because there isn't enough politicians in Trump's cabinet now, he's having to come up with actual ways the politicians will just think there's no credibility in him. So I don't know whether Linda's going to be getting in there, but we'll see.
Right.
On Wednesday, we'll probably find out.
So, yeah, I think like Linda was the CEO and Vince was the chairman of the board. So I think you're gonna see something similar to that. Like
CEO Stefan.
yeah, CEO is gonna be Stephanie, and Triple H will be the chairman, and it'll be like he'll be the gorilla position guy, same position that Vince always does.
I think Triple H is COO right now.
She's COO. Yeah. And Stephanie is the head of. She's the president of. What is? No. Triple H is the head. Yeah.
President of talent relations.
Yeah.
As well as being COO.
Right. They're making crazy money, so whatever.
Well, actually, I think the COO position is the keyfabe one. The fake one.
Yeah.
But the
Triple H is a talent relations
stuff is actually, talent relations is his job. So if you go to Triple H's LinkedIn page.
Oh God.
Scott's become drunk via the power of the internet. Oh no.
It's Robot Scott.
Mr. Robot Scott?
Hello?
Close
I'm
enough.
here.
Oh, and then it cleared up.
Yeah.
I love that. It's like...
Good joke.
Yeah.
So that show when Trump gave all the money back to the audience for paying their tickets and stuff was held in Green Bay.
Yeah.
And I kicked myself in the ass for years about not going to that show. I was at the show where Hornswoggle was.
Vince probably on the way out made people pay $30 for the parking, so in actual fact they got the money all back.
Pretty much. Because parking there at Lambeau Field is expensive, which is right next to the arena. But Hornswoggle, when Hornswoggle got revealed as Vince's illegitimate son, was in Green Bay, because Hornswoggle's from De Pere, which is a suburb of Green Bay.
Does Green Bay get all the shitty angles there? Including Kennedy? Wait for it. Kennedy.
Canada, eh? Yeah, there he. Yeah. I mean,
Hell,
it was originally supposed to be. It was originally supposed to be Mr. Kennedy, but then they switched it to Hornswoggle, and then it became that big feud.
Wasn't Green Bay as well where we saw the debut of Head Cheese?
Yeah, I think so. That was Al Snow. Yeah, that was Green Bay too. What was another one? Another cool angle that came out of Green Bay. It was the first time when all three biggest wrestling brands heads, so Paul Heyman, Eric Bischoff, and Vince McMahon were in the same ring, and they had a funeral to the death of ECW. That happened in Green Bay. I was at that show because at the end of that show, Batista got hit with a sledgehammer.
ECW died about 69 times since it actually died in 2001.
Oh, I know. But shortly after the ECW funeral, in quotes, is when ECW was revived into the show. It became.
And then it died.
It died again, yeah.
Every week it died. They just had to put it on life support and put the bloody, electric shocks on the E and the W and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, it's back. It's back.
Oh, well, we'll put Bobby Lashley there. He'll be champion. Oh, no. Let's put Swagger there. He'll be champion. Okay. So, enough of the off-topic stuff. I give the Samoa Joe Nakamura match a 4.5 out of 5. And the Mickie James Asuka match, I give that a 4 out of 5 because I didn't do that before.
Alrighty.
Overall, pretty strong show from NXT. I don't know if it's on the same level as some of the ones we've had earlier on. Certainly, probably from top to bottom, it was probably better overall in that sense. But I did some. It was missing matches, which is weird. That's exactly what we're thinking tomorrow, except that's at least an hour and a half longer. God help us all.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it at all. Too long.
And we've done this before. I mean, SmackDown or SummerSlam. I think some of the matches on NXT trumped it. Same with Brooklyn. Or that was SummerSlam. But WrestleMania in Dallas, NXT Dallas, had a lot of good matches on it that trumped the WrestleMania card. So, it's it's going to be interesting. We'll see how this all plays out. 6 matches, yeah, I'm not looking forward to it.
We'll
There are going to be some long-ass matches.
Yeah, about SmackDown versus Raw. That's the big factor. Does anybody give a shit about the brand warfare?
Nope.
Because brand war shit.
I knew it was coming when the draft happened, but they did it terribly.
Of course.
They
didn't learn
did
from
it.
the past mistakes.
They should have drew it out a little bit more and made it an actual rivalry. I think the biggest thing that hurts them coming in the Survivor Series with the verses is that they should have did the draft months before, and then they could have totally built up to it. It could have been a true ratings war. There wasn't enough time between the draft and Survivor Series that there's you can't really point at a ratings war that SmackDown's better than Raw or Raw is better than SmackDown, or people are just voting for SmackDown because it's got the better storylines and the better product overall. Because nobody really wants to sit through 3 hours of Raw every freaking Monday and be bored to death for an hour and a half while, the bookends of the show is the best parts. There's nothing in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And SmackDown is just
Anyway,
pop. It's like NXT.
And that's where we leave Takeover, I guess.
Yep. So tomorrow, immediately following Survivor Series, we will be live again. And Raw, immediately following Raw, will be live again. And then on Wednesday, we will be live at 9 p.m. So a lot of wrestling here on the Popcast Network this week. And this Friday night, 9 p.m., the final Halloween Horror Nights 26 podcast with the new elite of the Popcast Network. That's going to be coming your way. So if you are a Horror Nights fan, which I know a lot of you are, check us out at 9 o'clock. You're going to meet the new elite, and we're going to have some fun for sure.
Banging.
That's right. So that being said, I want to thank Jeremy Mills for being in chat. And always big shout out to Acer. Acer just had a birthday recently, so happy birthday to Acer. And he is a very loyal listener to the network. It has been for quite a while, so we appreciate his patronage. And we appreciate anyone that listened to us tonight, or whether you're listening in archive or whether you joined us live. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much for listening to us rant about NXT for over 2 hours. So that being said, real quick before we take it home, Scott, where can you find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at Great Traveling Scott, GR8 TRAVLNSCOTT. And I have a Facebook page. If you find it, give it a like. Yeah.
There you go. And Ashley?
If I'm on Twitter, Ash is my name. Check out other podcasts, listenersradionetwork.com. A lot of other good stuff and other that should complement some of the crazy shit that we do on here.
Right.
Gaming with Ash will probably be going. It might be a day or so late because of this all Survivor Series stuff and ICW and all that. But we'll be seeing the Golden Joystick Awards from last weekend and building up to, because the nominations just got revealed for Jeff Keighley. So we'll probably assess the damage from them too, because there's some interesting wins and snubs and all that sort of stuff to cover with that.
Right.
And then who knows what else.
All right. You follow me on Twitter at Sir Owen Disney. Follow the network on Twitter at Popcast Network. Check out our Facebook fan page at Popcast Network and our Zazzle store for merchandise at Popcast Network. So once again, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for joining us tonight. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.